Guys, if there's a company out there that is a shell of its former self, that's literally a joke in the gaming industry, that has just let bad decision after bad decision from the corporate executives of it just ruin whatever majesty we had in the 90s, EA. EA is just really unself-aware of the mistakes they make. This last year, the holiday season, they were banking on Battlefield 2042 to be that killer app, and that game was met with some very negative reception. I mean, there was bugs and glitches galore in it. It just completely felt like it was rushed out, unfinished. The gameplay was just met with a sour taste from gamers. I think somebody made a joke recently saying that Battlefield 2042 has less gamers than the number 2042. So it's like, all right, there's not many people playing it. I got a free copy actually sent my way on Xbox, courtesy of Falcro, who watches the live streams, and I played it twice, and I was like, wow. I couldn't believe it was this bad. But now they had a town hall call about Battlefield 2042, and the EA executives had a laundry list of reasons why Battlefield 2042 had some failures. And this is actually kind of sad but funny at the same time, because the bottom line of it is that at no point does EA take accountability for itself at all. Now we're gonna look at this report. This is from Kotaku, and you can see EA executives blame Halo, COVID for Battlefield 2042's failures. Now I can understand COVID. I can understand the problem with COVID. That's affected a lot of companies. But look at that, right at the top of it. Blame Halo. When have you heard a video game company blame another video game for its failures? Talk about taking your ball home and running away from it. And it's been out for 3 months and it doesn't seem like it's getting better. I don't even know if they've really had some decent patches, but this was a town hall meeting, and this was first reported from Xfire, and this was an internal town hall, by the way. This was like internal. Now Laura Meal, who's EA's chief studios officer, basically led the discussion on this. She acknowledged EA's wider successes, both past and present, and said it's really important to acknowledge when we have misses. This is certainly the case with the Battlefield launch, which failed to meet the expectations of our players and also clearly missed our own expectations, which, yeah, that's corporate mumbo jumbo for, yeah, this game sucked. But it does sound initially like they're admitting, hey, it was our bad. Now, they did mention the Frostbite engine that the game was built on. They said it's aging, and that the Frostbite engine they were on was so old that they had to go back and update and put the game on a new engine. So I guess originally it's being developed on Frostbite. The global pandemic came about halfway into the project, which I can understand. You know, teams had to work from home. You know, there was all sorts of different problems arising from that with the lockdowns. Yeah, okay. She went on to say that, you know, there was variables in development. And apparently they went on to mention the bug count, which according to this article says it was at historic levels for a DICE game. So they took all the player feedback, all the glitches, I guess, from the beta or the alpha, whatever they had with this game, and they just said it was an indescribable mess of bugs. Historical. And you got to think, with games coming out like GTA Definitive Edition and Cyberpunk and all these games just coming out nearly unplayable with game-breaking bugs and just crashes left and right, it's like, are these companies really rushing these games out for the holiday? Did EA really want to get this game sold for Christmas so they can make some money? Signs point to yes. I mean, EA executives are some of the most scum and villainous creatures outside of Mos Eisley. If we're gonna be completely honest here, it's all about the cash money when it comes to that. Both Halo and Battlefield came out like literally at the same time, so the comparisons between that and Battlefield and even Vanguard were there, because they were all online multiplayer first-person shoot. They were all online multiplayer first-person shooter games. People were gonna pick their sides. Call of Duty's a powerhouse on its own, but Halo coming out was a big wrench in their plans, especially for day one on Game Pass where people could play it. So she went on to say that the release of Halo was not favorable because it was a very polished title, whereas Battlefield 2042 contained bugs and wasn't as polished. So she's literally telling everybody that this game isn't as polished as Halo. Like, it's weird. Like, you would think, obviously, if something's not polished, it's not ready to come out. I just honestly think they weren't expecting Halo to come out. It was literally a surprise release. So yeah, again, reasons like the pandemic, completely understandable. The engine excuse, I don't know, because the developers could have been able to work around that. And if they really found it to be a problem, they should have just further delayed the game. Honestly, what was the rush? Did EA not have any other plans or backup contingency plans? Were they banking on Battlefield 2042? Because to me, it seems like they probably would have saved a lot more face and a lot more money than releasing this game the way it came out. It ended up being a literal public disaster. People have been returning this game left and right. The game is constantly on sale now. It's a literal joke. They probably would have made more money not releasing it, to be honest. And then on top of that, blaming Halo, which, I mean, that was some stiff competition there. That was like a kick in the nuts from Microsoft on that one. But the funny thing is, and this article points it out of all these excuses, there's one thing not mentioned, and that's the decision from EA executives themselves to release the game while it wasn't even ready to be out there, while it was full of bugs and glitches. Did none of them think, hey, let's delay this a little bit? Why do we need to rush this game to come out? According to them, they got user feedback with the testing, with the online testing. They got historical levels of people reporting bugs and glitches. Why didn't they fix it or make sure that it was fixed before they released it if it was historical levels? I think at one point in the big X-Fire article, they even mentioned that they learned from this lesson and that they need to cast a wider net of players to get more feedback that's a lot more accurate than opposed to what they saw. But that saying it was historical levels of glitches just makes me wonder who in their right mind thought it was wise to release this game in the state that it was in. Somebody at EA or a board of people at EA had to think, oh, it's ready, let's just push it, let's just put it out there. And then yeah, it bit them in the butt, definitely. So they have all these excuses. They're literally blaming Halo. They're blaming another company and their game for the reason why their game didn't do too well. And they said because it was much more polished. It's like having a burger joint and saying, well, we're going out of business because Burger King tastes a lot better than us. Like, oh man, EA, I don't know. It's ridiculous. They'll blame everything but themselves. I just thought there was a little funny. Wanted to share my thoughts on it. What are your guys' thoughts? Let me know down below.